Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, everyone, I think we can start. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Ranesh Senanayake. I'll be your lecturer today, and we are hosting this session of based on the Buddhist teaching of the Abhidhamma, or the highest teaching, and that's over 10 sessions once a month. So we'll be continuing on usually the third Saturday, or if there's 5 weeks, then it'll be the fourth Saturday of the month around this time. So let's begin. First of all, as a format, I like to start with the 10-minute meditation session. Just that if our mind is not calm, it's hard to concentrate and grasp these very, very fine, teachings of the Buddhist psychology. So just to quieten the mind down, what I'll do is I'll guide you through a 10 minutes meditation on the breathing. So if you all can either sit on the floor or on a chair, but make sure your back is fully straight, leaning on anything, and just be comfortable. Have your legs flat on the floor, and if you're sitting, otherwise crossed. If you're on the floor sitting down, your hands just put one on top of the other, and have your back straight. And then I'll talk you through. Just follow my instructions to the best of your ability, and we'll conduct a 10-minute meditation from now. So keep your back straight. Just quickly scan your body posture from top to bottom. Make sure your back is straight. It's important for this meditation. The back is straight. And if you're sitting down, just sit on the edge of the chair, not all the way to the back. And then once you scan your body, then bring your awareness to your nose and focus on your breathing in and out, in and out. And as a beginner's guide, it's better to start counting your breathing. So you can count as you breathe in as 1, and as you breathe out as 1. So entire cycle as 1, then 2, 3. So choose a number between 5 and 10. Let's say 8. Then you keep counting your breathing cycles 1 to 8, and then start again when you reach 8. So if you can all focus on your breathing now, and as you do, just focus on your natural breathing. So don't breathe purposely. Just observe your breathing as your breath touches your nose skin. Be aware where it touches, and then that's where your focus should be. So breathe in and out, and slow down your breathing as you do, and observe your breathing naturally. And if thought comes to your mind, just be aware of it and come back to your original focus, which is your breathing. Become aware where the air touches as it comes in through your nostrils and as it goes out. That's where that's where your focus should be. And allow all the other thoughts to disappear far, far away. Allowing your mind to be a quiet, peaceful place. Be aware of the breath coming in and out. Focus on where it touches your skin in the nose. Allow all the other thoughts to disappear far, far away, far, far away, increasing your concentration on the breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring your focus back to the original focus of breathing. Maintain your focus on the breath as it comes in and out, in and out. Allow all other thoughts to disappear far, far away, far, far away. Gently focus on your breathing while your entire body is being relaxed. Allow your mind to be a very peaceful place as your distraction thoughts disappear far, far away. Focus on your breathing and become aware of the breath coming in and out, in and out. 5 more minutes to go. I'll ring the bell at the end. Keep focusing on the breathing in and out, in and out. Okay, let's come to the present moment and be open to this very first session of the Buddhist teaching on the topic of Abhidhamma. So let's begin. So this is a 10-lesson course, and today I'm just going to cover an introduction before we go into detail. So this session will be a bit of overview of what is rebirth and what is Abhidhamma in a very high level sense, and why we need to learn it. And if you've got any questions, we can discuss that towards the end. But during each lesson, if you've got any questions, feel free to either text me via the chat or you can ask during. So let's go into just the rebirth as discussed in Buddhism, because it's important. Why we need to learn Abhidhamma and how it connects with this never-ending cycle of births and deaths. So let's look at rebirth. Okay, has any of you heard about the 31 realms that all beings are born again and again? Or is this a new concept to some of you? Because according to Buddhism, Lasni and Lisara, are you familiar with the 31 planes of existence? Have you seen this before?
Not this specifically.
Yeah, so these are a kind of visual representation of the different realms that all beings are born in. And I just want to introduce you into this visually, and so you can actually, appreciate what these names are, because these are the names of each realm according to Buddhism, right? So I'll go from bottom to top, and I wanted to understand this realms concept, because Abhidhamma basically talks about the minds and the thoughts that exist in these different realms. Okay, so in Buddha, in his infinite wisdom, has divided, what he sees as material objects and mind energy into its finest level. So what he ended up with was basically material elements and mind energy elements which exist in all of these realms. So according to Buddhism, there are we're in the Manusaloka, which is the human world, and below that are 8 hells. These hells are basically differentiated based on the level of pain that's inflicted on the beings there. So there's no pleasure at all in these hells. And the Tirachana is basically the animal world, which we can see in this realm also. And then Preta worlds are the spirit worlds, and Asura worlds are the demon worlds. So these are different worlds that all of us have born and will be born if we don't practice the insight meditation and achieve nirvana in this lifetime itself. So basically, these 4 realms are below the human realm. And then above the human realm is the 6 heavens. Chatumarajika, Tavatinsa, Yama, Tusita, Nimmanurati, Paranimita Vatsavati. So some of these names you probably heard, but the Abhidhamma teaching of the Buddha, which is the highest level of teaching, was initially taught in this Tusita heaven to Siddhartha's mother, who's Mahamaya, who's passed away when he was 7 days after he was born. So she was born in Tusita heaven, and after Buddha became enlightened, he actually went to heaven, Tusita heaven, to preach the Abhidhamma. So Abhidhamma is the highest level of teaching, and we'll go into that in detail. But I want you to understand that there are 31 realms that all beings, regardless of whether they are humans or animals, all beings are born again and again. And each of these realms, there are different life expectancies. So the first heaven nearest to human world, 1 day in that heaven is equal to 50 human years. And the one above that, Tavatinsa, is 1 day equal to 100 human years. So it goes on and on. And the thing is, we all been through different, all of these worlds, and mostly in hell. And the direction or the reason we've been born in different worlds is based on our own doing in terms of karma. So if you do bad karma, you'll end up in one of these one of these worlds, either Nirayat, animal world, Preta world, or Asura. So people who exercise hatred, emotion, they'll normally end up in either hell or in Asura. And Preta is mainly the attachment or lobha thoughts or feelings. When people are too much attached to things or material objects or people, they tend to get born in the Preta world and animal world. I mean, they can also go to hell, but it's generally said that the lobha thoughts cause you to go into this ghost or spirits world, and the hatred or anger, those kind of thoughts makes you go into demon world, because those karma kind of have that kind of effect on the last thought that you kind of experience on before you leave this body. So that thought determines where you get born, and we'll talk about those thoughts in detail on later sessions. But it's really the what you have to understand is that all beings meaning all of these type of spirits and animals and demons, etc. They have a mind. Okay, they also have a mind just like us, and they have thoughts in those minds just like us. So we call that a mind energy. So any being that has a mind or brain that can think, that's called the mind energy or nama energy in Pali. Nama Rupa is the Pali words. Pali is the language that was used in Buddha's time, and that's the language we'll be using to learn Abhidhamma. So there's a learning curve there in terms of language translation. Just imagine if you were to learn a new language like Chinese, there is a time period where you need to translate the words into your own language and try to understand the meaning. So just like that, there's a learning curve involved in this subject of Abhidhamma, because Abhidhamma was written in Pali, and these are some of those words. These words are Pali words. So in Pali, there are two types of energies. Okay, there's Nama energy and Rupa energy. Nama means mind energy. So mind energy can be further classified into mental kind of energy, and also mental factors energy, which is like thoughts. Like mind and thoughts are two different energy types or classifications in simple terms. But in Abhidhamma, we basically go into different segmentations of those energies. So the two energy types, it's important to understand, exist in all of these realms. Okay, if a being is born, then that being has a mind energy, and Rupa energy are the material energy, what we call matter. So you probably heard of the earth, fire, water, air, etc. These are matter energy, and those are one of the four matter energies. So the Abhidhamma talks about those two types of energies in detail. And it is only kind of teaching that exists that talks about the human mind and the construct in great detail at an energy level. And we need to understand it so that we can break the cycles of desire and never-ending rebirth when we learn those things through meditation. Okay, so just want to explain that above human world there are 6 heavens, and then above those 6 heavens there are 16 what's called Brahma world. These are called Rupa Loka. Rupa means they have a very fine body, but they also have mind in those body. And these worlds, they basically have different life expectancy, and the higher you go in this realms ladder, the more pleasure you experience. But the lower you go, the less pleasure you experience. So this Sudhavasa basically between Aviha and Akanitya Brahmalok, so Brahma worlds. These worlds, where it says Sudhavasa, only someone who attain the Sakradagami state, which is the one of the 4 states to Nirvana, get born. So if you haven't achieved the Sakradagami state, you won't get born there. And so just understand, whenever you hear the Rupa Loka, we're talking about these 16 Brahma worlds, okay? And above that is Arupa Loka. Arupa means there's no body, just the mind. So these four worlds or 4 realms, beings just have the mind. So they can't hear, they can't eat or taste anything. It's purely the mind energy is there. There's no Rupa energy. There's no material energy there in these worlds. And the life expectancy is very, very long, okay? You can't really count the number of years in that, human years wise. So beyond that is Nirvana. So basically Nirvana is the energy that exists beyond these 31 realms. So it has no characteristics of the 31 realms of the Nama Rupa. The mind energy and the matter energy, a characteristic doesn't exist in the Nirvana energy. And that is the finest, most purest energy that exists outside of these realms. So for you to see something that's outside of these realms, you had to develop your wisdom. So we all have, a thought called wisdom thought or intellect, and that can only be developed through insight meditation. And there are 21 different meditation techniques taught in the Mahasatipatthana Sutra. And when you practice those meditation techniques, or at least one of them, throughout your life, what you're doing is you're actually sharpening your intellect. And when you sharpen your intellect or your wisdom thought, you can see the Nirvana energy. All of these energy worlds that you can see, that exist in these realms, you can see it for yourself once you achieve what's called a dhyana sit or dhyana mind energy states. So when you meditate, there are 2 types of meditation. There's samatha meditation, which is developing your concentration thought, and there's insight meditation, which develops your wisdom or your intellect thought. When you develop your concentration thought, as you go higher and higher, you can see, although your body is in the human world, you can experience the first dhyana mind state or mental state when you reach the first dhyana state through meditation. At that moment, although your body is in human world, but your mind is in one of these worlds. These are Brahma worlds. And then when you reach the second state of dhyana, then you're getting even more higher pleasure, mental kind of, peaceful state. But you experience the minds of these worlds. And then third dhyana is the minds of these worlds. And the fourth one is the minds of these worlds. And the fifth dhyana, in Abhidhamma, there's a fifth dhyana. That's when you experience the minds of these beings. So you can experience what these beings experience in those worlds, even from Earth. And you can actually, once you sharpen your concentration, you can see these spirit worlds. You can see the vibrational energy that's all around us. So that's called the third eye. Once you awaken your third eye, you can see all of these worlds, and you can even talk to the beings in some of these worlds. So these are not just fairy tales; these are actual energy world that exists, and that's been taught in Buddhism. So, any questions on the realms? I mean, the rebirth is basically being born in all of these worlds countless number of times. So when we die, what happens is that based on our karma, our actions, this life and previous, there's a very powerful karma, whether it's good or bad, will be remembered in your last mental state before you leave this body, and that dictates where you get born. So if you're someone who's done kind of bad things in this life, that means, just imagine we all have a karma account, like a bank account, and when we think a thought, action something with our body or with our words, every moment to moment, this karma account captures points. Some of them are good points, positive karma, negative karma, and depending on the balance, and let's say you've done something really bad, okay, and that bad action will have an effect, and one of the effect is that that memory will come into your last thought before you leave this body, and it dictates where you get born. So if you've done something bad, like kill an insect purposely or intentionally, or person, that will become your that memory becomes or has an influence to come to your last thought before you leave, and that will probably take you to one of these worlds. And unless you've done something really, really powerful, like meditated in your previous life and attained one of these dhyana states, then that karma will override anything else that you do here, unless you do the 5 great sins, which is killing father, mother, Buddha, one of the Arahat, and causing kind of friction between the monk or the Buddhist monks, etc. Unless you do those actions, the other karma can be cancelled off by doing more of the good karma. So the karma is basically what dictates where you get born, and we cannot negotiate with it, we cannot bargain with it. So it's very fair. It doesn't discriminate. So basically the only way to influence your karma is to do more of the good deeds. And that's why, like if you kill animals for a living, or if you kind of kill or shorten the life of other beings, then as a karma you'll have a short life expectancy, and that can be impacted for a number of lifetimes. That's why children get killed immediately after they're born, or in the womb, or any kind of stage. That's because of the previous karma. That's all they that's all the life expectancy they brought into this world. So it's important to learn about how that karma is affected by the thoughts that you think, by the actions that you take, and also by the words. The words have an influence on karma. There are 4 types of words that we mustn't use, like swearing, lying, hearsay, and gossiping. So these type of categories of words have negative effect on your karma. So it's important to always tell the truth, or version of the truth, without lying. So you can always create a version of the truth, and otherwise you can stay quiet. So you have to protect your words that comes out of your mouth, because you're in control of it. And when you learn the mind and the different thoughts that occur in our minds, there are 52 of them. Then when you learn about them in this lesson series, you become more aware of your own mind, and what kind of thought you experience daily or regularly. And if they're negative, then you can identify them and turn them into positive. There are techniques to do that, and we can meditate on all of those type of thoughts. We can meditate on feelings, etc. So it's important to learn Abhidhamma, because it talks about these mind energies and material energies. So you can use them for your advantage when you meditate, etc. So the never-ending life cycle of being born and dying in all of these worlds has been occurring throughout your many previous lives. I mean, just to give you an idea how much we've been born again and again, it is said that if you collect all the little drops of milk that you drank from your same mother in your previous lives, from the same mother, it will be more than the water in the sea. And that's an analogy to say that's how much, I mean, it's more than that. So that's how much we've been born again and again in these worlds countless times. Except these Sudhavasa. Sudhavasa, you'll only born when you achieve the Sakradagami state. But all the other worlds, we've been born, and mostly in hell. So it doesn't matter what culture you are, what religion you are, what animal you are, we're all part of this life cycle. So the Buddhism teaches you the universal truth. It's not your version of the truth. It's not my version of the truth. It's the ultimate truth. And that's all it does. And then basically we have to learn it, and we have to basically come out of our own, doing, by following the teachings of the Buddha, because there is a middle path that we all can practice to come out of this cycle of never-ending rebirths. And ignorance is not bliss. It leads to never-ending life cycle of samsara. So samsara is the word given to never-ending rebirths, and we all part of it. And it's important to understand that if I were to give an analogy, I mean, I'm sure you all play computer games. If you can imagine that these are 31 levels in your game, and we all play at this level right now in the Manusaloka, and when we die, based on our energy, we could or the levels, we could be born in the next level, up or down, right? But we know that although we control this computer character inside the game, we know that it's not real, because those computer games are made of pixels, and they program in computer language. All language comes down to zeros and ones. So like that, the Tathagata Buddha is an expert programmer, and he identified the source code or the language that this human world and other worlds written in. And then he taught us the programming codes, so that we can break the code and achieve break the cycle and achieve the nirvana. So the program language that he taught is basically was taught in Abhidhamma. So when you learn this Abhidhamma, you're actually learning the programming code that creates this entire realms system and the beings in it. And once you learn it, you can play the game wisely, and also practice the meditation techniques to get out of this cycle at the same time, whereby that's the reason for the middle path. So while you're living your life in this short period of life that we have. Before our body get decay and before it kind of become dysfunctional, it's important to practice the insight meditation and achieve nirvana state in this lifetime. And that's the purpose of all of these teachings. Because if you don't do that, I mean, if you can imagine how much you have to learn in this lifetime to live comfortably. You go to school and then universities and get all these degrees. What is all that for? Is to get a job ultimately. And what's the job for? Is to earn money. And what's money is needed? Is to live a comfortable life. But that's all of that effort, all of the studying time and everything you invested in your life is to make one life comfortable, which is this life. Whereas this teaching, the benefit of this teaching is to make your entire cycles of life shorten and become ultimate, break out and achieve nirvana, which is the ultimate goal of our existence. And that's the purpose of learning this teaching, so that all of these mind energy and the rupa energy or the material energy knowledge will help you to meditate more effectively, not allowing your mind to go astray when you meditate. You can control it really well, and then basically achieve the ultimate bliss of nibbana in this lifetime. So that's my wish to you all. Any questions on these cycles of rebirth in these realms? And just to tell you that in Buddhism it is said that these 31 planes, that it's not just one. There's billions of these 31 lots of planes that exist. It's never ending. So when you die, you could be born in this plane that if you imagine this 31 planes of existence, it's like a galaxy, right? And there's billions of other galaxies that has all of these levels of realms in. So instead of trying to waste your time exploring those, our goal is to achieve nirvana and break free completely. So that's the purpose. That's why we learn in this. And any questions so far before we move on from this? I wanted to understand this model because we will refer these, names, etc., in our teaching. So whenever we talk about rupa worlds, rupa loka, we talk about these 16, this purple color realms. When we talk about arupa loka, we talk about these last 4 realms. And kama vachara means it includes the 6 heavens, manusaloka, the human world, and all of these other worlds. So basically in Abhidhamma, there are 89 different mental factors or mental states, which is called mind energy. I call it mind energy. And there are 89 unique ones, and they classify those 89 as 54 occurs regularly in the beings in these worlds. Yeah, 6 heavens, human, and all of these worlds below it. The rest are basically in these worlds. So that's why this chart is quite helpful for you to visualize when we talk about different worlds, different realms, and different names. But these are quite a new concept for most people. So it's important that Buddhism gives you the highest level of perspective. This is the highest teaching. It doesn't get any higher than that. It doesn't get any finer than that. And the only instrument that can detect these energy or energetic qualities that Buddha has detected is the developed intellect. So if we develop our mind, yours and mine, we can experience, we can see the teachings of these energetic vibrational world. And That's the only instrument. There's no physical instrument that can detect it. Humans are not that advanced. So only a developed mind can do that. That's why meditation is the only way to develop your intellect. Any questions? You can unmute and ask at this stage. If you have any questions before I move on. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Yes, Nira, do you have a question?
You mentioned about 89.
Yes, 89.
Relating to the Arupava, the Rupaloka and Arupaloka, is it?
Yes, so basically 54 of that 89 minds is in number 11 and below. So 1 to 11. That's called Kama Loka, yeah? Kama Vachara Loka. And 89 minus 54, the rest are in these worlds. So Rupa Loka, I think, has 15. And Arupa Loka has, I think, 12 from memory. And there are Marga Palasit, which is basically can exist on any of these realms. But mainly Rupaloka and Arupaloka, let me just confirm the number of mind or mind energy that can exist. Yeah, so Rupaloka has 15 minds out of the 89. And Arupaloka has 12. So there are 12. So, you know, but we'll go into depth in future sessions. I just want to give you an overview so that you can see the high level picture before we go into detail. Yeah, these realms are important to understand, and we can access them, we can experience them if we developed our own intellect through meditation. Is that okay, Nira?
That's right. That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's move on to the next slide. So I want you to relate your real life kind of you know, ideas when we comparing something new. We had to relate it to what we know already. So this Abhidhamma teaching, which is the highest teaching, you can relate to like your periodic table of elements that you learn about chemicals. You know, when you study chemicals. So if you can imagine the periodic table like this example of that has different chemicals, right? So those chemicals are individual and unique. So like that, there are 170 unique energy types that are taught in Abhidhamma. So those are the true matter that exists and that doesn't disappear. So what Buddha has found was, after he became enlightened, he contemplated and found out that what really exists, when you break things down to its finest energy level, what is really there? And he did that with his intellect. And what he found was there are 170 different energy types that are actually there. So that is explained in the Abhidhamma Pitaka. So in Abhidhamma Pitaka, in Buddhism, you know, there are three categories of or three classifications of Dhamma, or the teachings of the Buddha. One is Abhidhamma. Well, the order is Sutra, Vinaya, Abhidhamma. Sutra means you know, the sermons that Buddha has given you know, during his Buddhahood, during his 45 years of Buddhahood. All the sermons that he's given has been recorded, and they're like, you know, if someone come and ask him a question, the replies he gave are basically, you know, converted into one sutra, one sermon. So there are, you know, all the collection of those sermons are in the Sutra Pitaka. Sutra means sermon, and Vinaya means discipline. So initially he didn't give discipline rules to the monks, but as more and more people join the monkhood, he has to give them discipline or rules to obey. It basically describes rules on how to eat, from how to think, on when you're doing various tasks. So basically, I mean, as the layman, as a normal devotee, we are to follow 5 precepts or 5 rules in our lives. Those 5 rules are the minimum standards of a Buddhist, and for a monk is about 227 rules that they have to follow. So as you get closer and closer into this Dhamma, you have to discipline yourself in terms of the way you think, the way you behave, and the words you use. So 5 precepts is the minimum standard, and you need to live by those standards to actually practice meditation, because otherwise you don't have the correct mindset to practice meditation. Those 5 precepts are: not to kill or harm a living being, not to steal what's not given to you, not to commit adultery, not to lie or cheat others, and not to intoxicate yourself. The reason for not to intoxicate really is that when you intoxicate yourself, you don't have awareness. You can't be mindful when you're mindless. So in Buddhism, it is taught and encouraged to be mindful of the way you think, the thoughts in your mind, and your actions, so that you don't commit sins. You don't think the wrong thoughts, and you cannot be that mindful when you intoxicate yourself. So it's important not to intoxicate yourself even temporarily, if you're serious about achieving nirvana. So the Abhidhamma Pitaka, so you have Sutra, Vinaya, which is discipline, and then Abhidhamma is what we're talking about here, which is class or written or documented over 7 books. And Dhamma Sangani Prakarana, which is the book that we are talking about, which is Introduction to Abhidhamma. I mean, those books are basically written in Pali, and there are translations of that to different languages, but they're quite in detail and maybe difficult for some people to understand. So there are introduction to those books, which is one famous one is called the Manual of Abhidhamma, and there's English translation, and I'll share the details at the end. So it's highly recommended that you read that, because it teaches you these, what I'm about to go into in detail, in somewhat detail. So there are 7 books that's captures the Abhidhamma Pitaka, or the highest teaching, which is the highest psychology and highest level of material energy, right? The 170 energies types are captured in these 7 books. And it also explains, the Abhidhamma, or the highest teaching topic, explains 2 types of truth: conventional and the ultimate. The ultimate truth meaning, for example, if you use the periodic table and use water is made up of molecules from this periodic table. So H2O is the ultimate truth, and conventional truth of that is water. So like that, you got to understand that what made up from these elements are the conventional truth. So when you look at our body is made of the material energy. And just to give a more common example, when you buy an item from supermarket like soya milk, okay, for a layman, when you hear the word soya milk, they know that it's type of milk and it has some sort of soya in it. That's all they need to know. That's a conventional truth, okay? That's what I mean by conventional. It's actually a construct of some fine ingredients. So within soy milk, there's a, in the carton, there's a label that lists the ingredients that make up the milk. So if you're nutritionists, when you read those labels and ingredients, it has more meaning to you, because you know if it's allergic to your body, what's the nutrition value to your body. You can read a lot into that product when you go at a nutritional level. A nutritional level in that example is the ultimate truth. So that's like the molecule level, and that's the level that Buddha has taught in the Abhidhamma teaching, the ultimate level. And using the ingredients of taught in the Abhidhamma, different constructs are created, like all the things that we can physically touch and feel and see are created from the materials energy. There are 28 material energies taught in Abhidhamma, and that was create the physical objects, including our body. Okay, not just objects, so beings and their bodies. So there are 28 energies that creates all the physical objects, and those physical objects are called conventional things. And what is really there is the ultimate truth, the matter, the molecule level. But the only difference is, the beings that exist, they have another type of energy called the mind energy, or the nama energy in Pali. Mind energy is broken into two different categories: mental states and mental factors, or what we call mind and thoughts. They're two different energies, but they're connected so tightly that you can't separate them. So, but Buddha has separated them, and he found that there are 89 different mind energies, there are 52 different thought energies, and there are 28 different matter energies, and that makes it 169. And the 170th one is none of those, which is a nirvana energy, which is the energy that's so pure that doesn't have any correlations or any kind of similarities of the mind energy or mental factors or thought energy or the matter or the rupa energy. So it's completely different energy, and we can only achieve it once we strip all of our thoughts through the developing our own intellect through insight meditation. So the Abhidhamma talks about the ultimate truth, and it doesn't talk about the false constructs of those ultimate truth. So if you go to Legoland and you see the different toys they made out of Lego. So the toys that they make up, or the images that they make up, is the conventional truth. It's a lie, basically, right? It's not real. What is real is the pieces that makes up those images, for example. But according to Buddhism, even those pieces are not real, because there are even finer elements. Like, for example, let's say that the smallest particle that scientists have identified is proton and neutron. And even in those proton and neutrons, there are billions of these nama-rupa energies that Buddha has discovered. And they're so fine that you can only see them as vibration, and the only instrument to capture those vibrations or view them or experience them is your developed intellect. And that's where the meditation comes in. So that's the level of detail we're learning in this subject. And how did these Abhidhamma Pitaka got documented? Well, once the Buddha became enlightened, he contemplated on this truth, and he found out that there are 170 matter or energy types that exist at ultimate level, and he want to share those with the most, highly intellectual beings available at the time, and they were in the Tusita heaven. So he actually chosen that realm to go and teach this. It's purely because of few reasons. I mean, his mother was born as a deity, as a god in that world, and he wanted to help his mother to achieve nirvana. And also in that realm, like in human years, if it takes 3 months to teach this Abhidhamma, it's a sermon, okay? This Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is captured in 7 books, it's not the full version of the teaching that the Buddha has taught in the Tusita heaven to his mother and many other deities. It is a summary version, and the full version, if you were to preach it, it'll take 3 months in the human world, but in that world, it is said that it is taken 3 hours because of the time difference in those realms. So, but because it's taken 3 months in human years, and he needs to sustain his body with food, he comes down to earth from those heavens around the lunchtime, while his version of the Buddha was constructed to continue the preaching in the Tusit heavens, while he takes or eats his food, or take the dana daily at lunchtime, and he comes to the human world to satisfy the hunger for the body on a daily basis, and he comes to the Anuttapa pond. There's a pond called Anuttapa that was there at the time, and one of his most intelligent monks called Venerable Sariputta is there to offer the food, and he would have given that daily kind of summary of what he taught in the Tusit heaven, and then Sariputta Thera will learn what was taught on that day, and then he would immediately preach that to 500 more monks. And it's those teachings that's been documented in these 7 books. So it's not the real full version, but it is the high level summary version that we have. And what I'm basically teaching in this session, 9 or 10 sessions, is an introduction to it. So you will truly experience this fine level detail of mind and matter energy when you practice insight meditation, and it's like this Abhidhamma Pitaka, or this mind matter energy explanation is like a sat nav. Okay, if a sat nav tells you to get from where you are to, let's say, to London, it draws a road, but it's not the real road. It's just a guide. And when you practice insight meditation, and the level of experience you have, the detail you have, you cannot put that into a book, because everyone's different and what the experience is different, but the high level fundamental milestones are the same. So like for example, the sat nav says to take on a particular road, and when you go on that road, you can see the details. You can see the trees, you can see the houses, and that detail and houses is not written in these books. What is written is that you have a road, and when you follow it this way, in this manner, you will achieve that destination. So that's the purpose of the Abhidhamma, and that's how it was given to us. And it's important to basically just give a summary of it. So Abhidhamma is the highest level of teaching of the mind and matter energy. There is 170 of them, and that can be classed as Nama Rupa. So Nama means mind energy and thought energy. Okay, the Pali words and the Sinhalese words for mind energy. The Pali word is called chitta or vijnana, and the Sinhalese word is called sita. But English equivalent would be mind energy or mental states. And there are 89 of them, depending on which realm you're experiencing. So they cover all 31 realms. So the 89 mind energy exists in beings in those 31 realms. And the thought energy is basically called Sitivili in Sinhalese, Chaitasika in Pali, and the closest word is thoughts, but it's really mental factors. But we'll call it from thoughts now on to mental factors, just for easier to remember. So there are 52 thoughts that exist in all beings in different realms, but those thoughts are connected to these mind energy or mental states. So in those 89 mental states, different types or different number of thoughts out of these 52 will occur, and we'll go into that in details. I mean, in this lesson, we're going to discover what are these 89, what are these 52, and what are these 28, and what's this number 1, which is energy that is neither mind or material energy type. So material energy means, the material objects is created from these energies. There are 28 of them. We'll go into depth of those. So that is, and then I think we covered why we need to learn Abhidhamma is to helps to understand our own mind and existence. Supplement the insight meditation practices. So insight meditation is the only meditation technique that Buddha has taught. The other meditation techniques, the samatha meditation techniques which develop concentration, existed prior to Buddha's times. But the insight meditation technique is only taught in Buddhism. And only through that meditation technique you can achieve nirvana. You can break through this cycle of never-ending rebirths. So it helps us to develop our own intellect or wisdom to the highest level possible, which is achieving nirvana, thereby helping us to achieve nirvana. So that's why we need to learn it. It helps us to basically achieve nirvana quickly. So before we end, is there any questions at this stage? You can unmute and ask questions. Was it too fast, too difficult to understand? Feel free to speak and give your feedback, please. So Lasini, what did you understand about Abhidhamma so far? Can you explain in your own words?
It's the highest level of Buddhism that we can understand. And there's the 31 different realms, and we're in the human one, which is above the like health.
Yeah, very good, very good. So why do we need to learn it? What's the benefit of learning Abhidhamma?
So we can improve our intellect and
Very good.
Achieve nirvana.
Excellent, thank you. Litsara, what did you understand from today's lesson? What did you take away?
I learned that Buddhism's about not Buddhism. Abhidhamma is about learning about your existence and how to get to the different planes, or the reason why we're in what the Manasaloka.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Very good. Thank you. So in future lessons we'll go into more detail about these mind energy and rupa energy. Neeraj, was that useful for you? Did you learn anything today?
And it was interesting to hear about the 170 energies, and I like the way you related to the sort of the periodic table and various other examples, which makes it kind of real sort of thing.
Yes.
Yes, I do it was very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your feedback. Stuart, how was it for you? Did you learn anything? I know it's completely new to you.
Hello, yes, it is completely new to me, but I found it very interesting. It was really, really good. Very well presented, I thought.
Thank you.
Quite insightful as well. I kind of used to practice meditation, but this has reminded me of the importance of it, really. So thank you very much. Fantastic.
You're welcome, Stuart. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Sudharmak, are you there?
Yes, Mandy, it is very nicely explained. I really enjoyed the way you said it.
Thank you.
It's, I think, even for a non-Buddhist who doesn't know anything about Abhidhamma, this is very good.
Thank you.
Well simplified. Well done.
Thank you, Akka. So in the future lessons, the next lessons, what we're going to cover, I'm going to introduce us into the 52 Chaitasika or mental factors or thoughts. And then out of those 52, we're going to cover the first 13, which will cover, the minimum seven thoughts that exist in all 89 mental states, and also the remaining 6 that occurs as positive on a positive mental state and negative on a negative mental state. So we'll go through those 13 thoughts out of the 52 on the next lesson, which is next month. And the following month, we'll cover the 14 negative thoughts out of the 52. And then on the following month, we'll cover the remaining 25 positive thoughts. These 25 thoughts are the thoughts that we need to cultivate all the time. And we do that when we do good deeds. So there are 10 good deeds that the Buddhists are, encouraged to do. And when we do those deeds or actions, we cultivate these 25 kusal thoughts. Kusal means, actions that create good karma, positive karma. The karma account I was talking about, the positive karma. Once you learn these 25 thoughts and the actions to cultivate them, then it helps you to create more and more good points towards your karma. And ultimately, that's what helps you to achieve nirvana. So if you want to know what's really, good and bad at a thought level, then lesson number 4 and lesson number 3 is very important. And once you learn those, then when those thoughts come to your mind, you know that you shouldn't live there. You shouldn't spend time there if it's negative. You should get rid of that quickly, and I'll tell you techniques to do that. And then 25 kusal thoughts, how to cultivate them, how to spend your time more and more there, and that's the purpose. Once you know your mind at this level, you can't be tricked, and you can't be manipulated, and you know exactly what needs to be done to achieve nirvana, because these are highest teaching. It doesn't get any higher than that. And on lesson 5, we're going to introduce the 89 unique states of the mind, and we're going to cover the 24 out of the 89 kusal mind, which is the mental states that you need to cultivate, or that automatically get cultivated when you create good positive actions. So we're going to introduce the mind mental states from lesson 5. So we're going to cover all 89 of them from there until lesson 10. So 25 will be covered on lesson 5 out of the 89. And then the remaining 18 are hetuka minds, which means, we will go into that. I don't want to confuse you right now, but 18 further mental states will be covered in lesson 6. And further 12 mental states out of the 89 will be covered on lesson 7. And you see these Rupavachara minds, there are 15. And these are the minds that occur in the beings of the Rupavachara Loka, those 16 Brahma Lokas that we talked about. These 15, and you can experience these mental states as a human before you actually go to those worlds by meditation. When you reach the dhyana states, that's when you experience these. So we're going to cover that on lesson 8. In lesson 9, we're going to cover the arupavachara mind energies, which are the top 4 Brahma world mindsets. So we're going to cover those 4 on lesson 9. And lastly, lesson 10, it's going to be a action-packed lesson because there's too much to get through. But we're going to cover the 28 rupa energies or matter, and then the remaining 8 lokottara mind energies out of the 89, and the explanation of the nirvana. So lesson 10 is the last lesson, because I think we won't have a lesson in August and December. So it's a 10 lesson course. So we'll go through that in detail like that. So that's why you need to look forward to. And as further readings, if you can take a picture of this slide, this is what I recommend. So if you want to learn it in English, this comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma by Bhikkhu Bodhi Thero is a good one. And I think you can download it for free. If you search comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma space PDF on Google. And if you want to learn furthermore, these are sort of interpretations of the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Okay, so I'll be referring to the manual of Abhidhamma book in this series, and also the teachings of my teachers, who's Venerable Valimada Janalankara Thero, and I've learned Abhidhamma from that Thero, and there's a website for him, and also the audio versions from his book. So yeah, so that's the lesson today. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you all enjoyed it and learned something, and let this awareness increase your own awareness about your own mind and thoughts. I know we haven't really gone into details, but we will do on the next lesson. So look forward to seeing you all. And I think that's the next one will be on the, so the same link will work, but that will be in February 20th will be the next lesson. So you can use the same link that you joined today to join that lesson. Thank you very much, and may you all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this lifetime itself. Thank you. Theruvan Saranai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mali.
Thank you,
you
Akka.
so much.
You're welcome, Akka.